Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Councilmember Mortensen.
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Here.
Councilmember Delaney.
Present.
All right, next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the council on any item not on the agenda or of a public hearing? If so, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. I do have one person that signed up, Ezekiel Calistino. Just up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Evening. My name is Ezekiel Celestino. I am here to try to plead with you guys for the ordinance of 752-21, which is a ordinance that does not allow sex offenders to live 300 feet from a bus stop. The 20th of last month, I closed on a house on 35th Street Court, Evans, Colorado, 80620. I am a registered sex offender. I was unaware of this ordinance. I checked things before I did house hunting to try to make sure that I was in compliance. I'm pleading with you because I'm a first-time home buyer. So my property is, so we got the 300-foot radius. My property is 295 feet away. It goes into my driveway, which I understand is how the ordinance is written. I just want to plead my case, kind of present myself. I've completed, I don't know if you're aware of or familiar with SOMB, sex offender therapy. I've been successfully discharged from that. I've lived in Denver for the past 3 years and moved here to gain closeness with my children. We've gone through reunification therapy. I do have the approval of their mother, my ex-wife, and her new husband. They're very supportive of me. My therapists all are very supportive. I haven't had time to get letters of recommendation from them, but they said they would supply letters for me to try to get an exception for this due to my rehabilitation. Also, I've tried to look into selling the house. Being a first-time home buyer, they will not let me do that without a short sale, and that's got to be approved, and it doesn't sound like they're going to want to approve that. I can't rent it out because that breaks contract of a first-time home buyer in the CHAFA regulations. As of Friday, well, as of tonight, really, I will be homeless, and I will have to go register as a transient. So I will be essentially a homeless homeowner today. And but I'm just pleading with you guys to allow a variance here, allow an admittance for me to reside at this home. I don't know. I've heard maybe there's a possibility of if it would make people feel comfortable with a probationary period with a possible, extra monitoring of some kind that you guys would deem appropriate. Totally fine with a probationary period. I'd love to be like, hey, my neighbors love me. Everything is good, but I haven't got to know them clearly because I've only been there for 2 weeks and I've been frantically trying to get things worked out. As far as this goes, I can't afford to go rent a place and pay my mortgage at the same time. I don't want my house to go in foreclosure. 4 months ago, well, not 4 months, I'm sorry, excuse me, 4 years ago, at the time of my offense, it was an internet luring charge. It was a sting operation. I was going through a horrible time in my life, just crazy. My credit was 330 at that time, and as of since, you know, I've been employed for 8 years through Ward Electric Company. I'm a foreman. I have guys working under me. Since that time, I've raised my credit to a 740, and you know, so that got me opportunity to buy a home, purchase a home, and I would have never, ever in a million years chose this home if I would have known that my house was 295 feet away from this.
Right.
When you know when it was 300-foot ordinance, because my options were totally open. This is a perfect home for me and my children. You know, we're coming to the point to making everything normalized with their mother and me, with, you know, keeping them 50% of the time. I do have a strong support group of family, friends, professionals, people that have a lot of trust in me, people that have worked with me closely, monitored my my progress, and this is, you know, this would essentially break the back of all the progress that me and my children. Not my therapy, because that's going to go wherever I go. If I'm homeless, I'm living in my car, that's not going to change. I'm a completely different man than I was 4 years ago, and I've been paying, you know, as much as I could, probably over the 2-minute mark, but
I feel sorry for your situation. I am sympathetic with your situation. Unfortunately, this council is not going to be able to take any action on that tonight. We would have to confer with city staff and city attorneys and possibly the police department to have a look into those statutes and see what they read and see if there's possibly any exceptions to that. But without concurrence from them or having a discussion with them, I mean, that's something that this council just won't be able to take action on this evening.
I realize that.
I would encourage you to reach out to city staff, and we can work with the city attorneys and the police department to see what statute says and see what exceptions there are, if any, to allow that to happen. I mean,
Right.
5 feet isn't too much, but again, not the ones that write the laws, and you know, we can only enforce them, but we can definitely have it taken a look into for you. And I would be more than happy to provide you my card, or I can get somebody from staff to give you my card or something. You can definitely reach out and we can have a discussion.
I would really appreciate it. That's all I was kind of coming here for, is just to be heard in a possibility.
No, I understand completely, and I'm glad you came this evening and everything, and I'm glad your life is getting back to normal and straightening out and everything, and you're doing good and everything. But let us take a look at it and see what we can do, if anything, for you, and at least we can owe you that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Curtis went to get one of your cards.
Was that?
Curtis
Okay,
went to get one of your
great.
cards.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right.
Is the bus stop a municipal bus stop or a school
It's a
district?
municipal. It's
Thank
a municipal bus stop.
Yeah, they are getting one of my cards for you, and they'll give it to you, and then, you know, please feel free to reach out to me, and we'll confer with staff and
Okay,
everything.
thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Who has the card? I'm sorry.
He's coming. If you want to have a seat, he'll be up here in a
Okay.
couple minutes for you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else in the audience wishes to address council on any item not on the agenda and or of a public hearing? All right, seeing none. All right, moving on. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? All right, and entertain a motion.
I move to approve the agenda. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consent agenda. Item number 1, approval of the June 17th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Item number 2, approval of the July 2nd, 2024 City Council City Council meeting minutes. Item number 3, consideration of ordinance number 822-2024 or 2024, rezoning the R1 low-density residential and R2 medium-density residential zone to districts to the I2 medium industrial zone districts for 239 35th Street, second reading. Item number 4, consideration of ordinance number 824-24 to amend sections 9.16.040 of the Evans Municipal Code, second reading.
I move to approve the consent agenda. I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. All right. Next item, under new business, item number 5, public hearing, consideration of resolution number 13-2024, approving the First Amendment to the Consolidated Service Plan for the Liberty Draw Metropolitan District, numbers 1 through 9, including the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the district and the city of Evans. I'll open a public hearing. We'll hear from staff.
Angela Snyder, Community Development Department. So the city has been presented with a request to amend the Consolidated Service Plan for Liberty Draw's metro districts. They currently have 7 metro districts in the city, and they are planning an expansion to the south onto the Meyer Farm property at some point in the future. This is the first step in that expansion. So it does not create new metro districts. It is not making a determination about something that is outside of our city limits at this point. All they are doing is amending the actual plan so that in the future they can add those districts when the time comes. So you'll see that it says now districts 1 through 9, whereas before there were 7, 1 through 7. So there is a consolidated service plan in your packet, and then one of the exhibits at the end of that updated plan is an intergovernmental agreement that we have between the district and the city of Evans. And so we also, they not only needed to amend the consolidated service plan, but also amend that intergovernmental agreement with us. And so you'll see that your motion is to sign the IGA acknowledging that you have approved the amendment to the consolidated service plan. The applicant is here and can explain things better if you have any questions.
And Your Honor, if I might just add a couple things. So you approved a very extensive service plan for districts 1 through 7. And they can make little changes to their project without having to amend their service plan. Substantial changes have to come back to you for approval. And if they were just adding land that they'd always contemplated, including their development, it wouldn't have to come back to you. But here, there are really 2 parts to what they're trying to do. One is to not add the Meyer Farm, but have the authority to add it and include it once it's annexed to the city, if it is annexed. The other is to go ahead and get approval of 2 more districts, 8 and 9. They're not actually going to use those districts until the Meyer Farm is annexed and they've started developing it. They're really, you might just think of them as you're approving them and putting them on the shelf so they're available to use once they develop the Meyer Farm property. This is a fairly, among changes to a service plan, this is a fairly minor change. I think when you would need to look at this more carefully is at some point, they will probably come back to you and say, well, in addition to having the Meyer Farm property in there and having the new District 8 and 9, we also need to increase the amount of authorized debt, the money that we can use to develop these additional lands. And that's when you'll need to look at it more carefully, and they will have to put on a stronger showing of, if you're going to increase the debt, this is how they intend to repay that debt, and you have to make a determination that their plan is adequate to repay the debt. Those things are not up before you tonight. All that's before you tonight is giving them the authority to add the Meyer Farms once it's annexed to the city, if it's annexed, and then just creating districts 8 and 9 and putting them on the shelf until they need them. But I think that the applicants are here, and it's probably better to hear from them as well.
Well, I do have a couple questions before the applicant comes up. If the Meyer property is not currently in the city and it's not been annexed to the city, how could the city consider the request with it not being in the city?
So it's typical when you approve a service plan for the developer to say, these are the lands we're going to develop right now. But we anticipate that in the future, we're going to add these additional lands as well. And when you approve the service plan, you typically approve both the lands they're going to use as well as those additional lands too. What they're doing tonight is saying, you know, our original service plan didn't include the Meyer Farm, but we want to add it as lands that we can include at some point in the future, but recognizing that we can't actually add it until it's been annexed. So all you're doing is giving it your blessing if you annex that property.
But I'm assuming the Myers property has not been bought and sold to Liberty Draw, has it yet? It
I'm
has.
sorry.
Okay, got it, okay.
Okay.
That makes a little bit more, thanks for the clarification on that.
And I think if Mr. O'Leary's here, he can straighten it out far better than I, so.
Please.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is David O'Leary. I'm from the law firm of Spencer Fain in Denver. We do have applicant here as well. What we're doing today, when we formed the original districts, the Meyer Farms wasn't on the table and it hadn't been closed on. We did not provide for a future inclusion area, so what we're talking about is future expansion area. And typically a future inclusion area cannot be included in one of the districts unless and until it's annexed to the city, so the city would have jurisdiction, and any related capital improvements or financing that's related to that district is reviewed and approved by the city. Oftentimes when we start a project, there'll be property under contract and things that could be expanded into, but none of the service plan and the districts are under the jurisdiction of the city, so unless and until we annex and go through that annexation process, it's not subject to your jurisdiction and we can't do anything. So the nuance and the change that we're doing or proposing to do to the service plan is to create a future inclusion area. We still have to come back to the town. There's no increase in debt at this point. There's no increase or decrease in services. There's no increase in capital unless and until we come back. And when we come back, we're gonna have to come back for a couple different reasons. We're gonna have to come back on the annexation and get your approval for the annexation. And then two, if there's any increase in the capital costs or the financing plan that was originally presented in the underlying original service plan, we have to prove that up as well. So we're not proposing any additional debt. We're not proposing any additional capital. That's for a future date when and if we do annex to the city and be under the jurisdiction of the city. We'll have to do all of the development approvals and annexations and all those other things. We just want the possibility of including it in the future. The creation of districts 8 and 9, like Mr. Krob had indicated, is basically to form it and put it on the shelves. If we don't need it and we never annex, they go away and we dissolve. If we do need it, we'll come back to you. If there's a need to increase our capital or increase our debt, it's on us to prove the viability of any proposed additional capital or proposed debt. So we have to have the present ability or the future ability based on our financing plan and prove it out to you that any debt that we propose to issue has to be able to be defeased or paid, and any capital has to be subject to, you know, all of your approvals on development approvals. So none of that is happening at this point. We're just expanding the possibility that we include this in the future. I believe that's the present intent. The property has been closed on by the developer and property owner. They do represent 100% of the property owners that are the petitioners for this consideration. And their present intent is to come back to the city, do the annexations, and have all of that considered. We don't know what we're going to do until we get the development process approved and the annexation completed at the city.
Any questions for staff and or the applicants? All right, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, because this is a public hearing, if there's anybody in the audience that is here to speak for or against this item, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and council discussion and or a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 13-2024, approving the First Amendment to the service plan for the Liberty Draw Metropolitan District numbers 1 through 9, including the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the districts and the city of Evans.
I second.
I have a motion second to approve resolution number 13-2024, approving the First Amendment to the service plan for the Liberty Draw Metro Districts numbers 1 through 9, including the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the districts and the city of Evans. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay?
Nay.
All right. And can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Clark,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Neal,
Nay.
Councilmember Mortensen,
Aye.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Yay.
Councilmember Delaney.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Thank you for being here as well. All right. Next item, item number 6, consideration of resolution number 11-2024, ratifying the approval of 1041 Evans Oil and Gas and location assessment permit for certain properties located north of and adjacent to Weld County Road 394 and west of and adjacent to 47th Avenue, also referred to as the Oxford 4N66W3 1 through 16 site. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Michael Hall, City Planner, Community Development Department. For your consideration is Resolution 11-2024, ratifying the approval of a 1041 Evans Oil and Gas Location Assessment Permit for a certain property, also referred to as the Oxford site. This property is owned by Dixie Water LLC, and the oil and gas applicant and operator is PDC Energy Incorporated. The site is located north of and adjacent to Weld County Road 394 and west of and adjacent to Weld County Road 33. For reference, the site is approximately 178 acres. The oil and gas facility will be located in the southern portion of the site near to the intersection of County Road 33 and 394. This application was approved by the Weld County Oil and Gas Energy Department Director as detailed in the letter dated May 24th, 2024. For reference, the 2A drilling permit was approved by the Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission Director on July 11th, 2024. To provide an overview of the process in partnership with Weld County Oil and Gas Department, the City of Evans Community Development Department has received the request for an oil and gas location assessment, also known as a 1041 EOGLA, for PDC Energy, and the request to drill 16 horizontal wells and install additional equipment to support the production on this property. And please note, this is the first EOGLA application to be processed by the city, stemming from the Evans and Weld County planning efforts stretching back several years to a resultant 2022 IGA, which is in the Evans Code as Chapter 18.12. Also to note, this location was previously but non-specifically approved under the PDC Guanella Comprehensive Development Plan, being a larger operational area in the region in late 2022. At this time, I've concluded my remarks and may take any questions. In addition, there are a variety of referral agencies that have participated in this application with us, including Weld County Oil and Gas, and then also Evans Fire Protection District. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments of staff?
I do.
Go ahead.
What's the haul route?
The haul route is on 394, and it's going, nothing's going south on County Road 33, so nothing crosses the bridge. It goes east and west on 394.
Okay, so it's gonna go east on 394. Don't we have some other restrictions that large trucks, trailers, all that stuff do not go east on 394?
I can jump to the haul route here briefly. So we have 75% of the traffic is going west on County Road 394 to County Road 391, or excuse me, County Road 31, and then 25% is going up 394 towards Highway 85.
Yeah, I thought we had some agreements with the residents there that the big trucks would not be going east on 394 for previous oil and
Ethanol.
gas and, I'm sorry?
The ethanol plant.
So big trucks from anywhere in that area were not supposed to go east on 394.
I can certainly look into that during discussion.
Any other questions? While he looks that up.
So I guess the only thing kind of to piggyback on that is, it's not under our control, but 394 is already in horrible disrepair and it is a feeder route to other city streets. Is there any plan from the county to, maintain it, at least get it up to where it actually should be?
As far as a future county maintenance plan, I'm not aware of that right now. It's a Evans maintained roadway.
It is an Evans.
It is an Evans, yeah, the next item on your agenda will be a road maintenance agreement associated with this application, to account for all of those elements.
Thank you.
Anybody's looking it up? Any other questions, comments?
I have none.
No, I'm just curious to know the answer to that question
Well, I
as
know,
well.
we
Yeah.
were in, we'd sat here on council when we had that
I,
discussion.
I
with some
do
other-
remember that. That's why I want
And
to hear.
we actually had neighbors here and
Yep.
they were upset about the road traffic and we were told that there was not going to be any, they were told too, that there was not going to be any large trucks heading east, to Highway 85.
Mark may have some.
But,
Any of-
what we've worked with other trucking companies, including Asphalt Specialties with their plant that they're getting ready to go with. We're sending them all up County Road 35, 246, and then out to 85. Because going out 394 to 85, it's almost impossible for trucks to get on 85 going northbound because there's no acceleration line in the northbound lane. And we've also told, and then with Asphalt Specialties, there was no traffic allowed. I believe it's on First Street going into LaSalle, which is, a lot of people want to go that way because it's a traffic signal in LaSalle, making it easier to go north and south on 85. All truck traffic, none of it's allowed going into LaSalle. So as part of this final arrangement, we can work with PDC to make sure their trucks go down 35th, County Road 35, 246. It makes it easier for the truckers to get out on 85 anyways. So that's just a matter of adding some signage saying truck route 30, County Road 35.
What a great use of our sign shop.
There you go.
Well, and I don't know what that bridge is, as far as being able to handle that kind of truck.
35, not 33.
So
35 is further east.
394, there's a bridge right there on the, maybe about a mile west of Highway 85.
Yeah, but they won't go that far west.
Yes.
They won't. So that's another reason for not sending them that way.
So,
And as
yeah,
part of, as Michael's gonna talk about the road maintenance agreement, we have plans, but any maintenance on 394 is gonna require survey and design because there's very few drainage culverts on that portion, on any portion of the road. I think there's only 3, and a couple of them are irrigation laterals, so we have to make sure they still function.
So, I mean, I would like to honor what we have done in the past, is to not let the truck traffic go on 394 to Highway 85.
We can talk to them about that. I think that's something to consider, because like you said, 75% of the traffic is going west to 31 and then south. There's no reason that they can't all go west to 46 and then
Yep.
split.
So that's 25% more going on east on 394 to Highway 85, that we had promised the neighbors and the people that live in that area that it wouldn't happen.
Well, when we did Asphalt Specialties, that was not a topic of discussion, but,
This was prior to
right,
Asphalt
okay.
Specialties.
Yeah. So we can talk to them about that and have the truck traffic go west on 394 to 31st, County Road 31.
I would think to mitigate that problem, what we do is utilize our sign shop and place a nice little sign that says no truck traffic eastbound to Highway 85 or whatever.
I mean, there is existing eastbound traffic
Right.
on 394 from Two Eagles and from Asphalt Specialties currently, so it's already there, and I don't know how much traffic PDC is gonna have going out of there. So, I mean, it is something we can talk to them about, but we're kind of playing favorites with this one, sort of, because the other ones are already doing it.
Yeah, I'd prefer for them to all just do the same thing.
And just for reference, this will be discussed more so in the next item. Certainly,
All right, we
related, but-
can table that, more of that discussion then for the next item then. Thanks for bringing that up. Thanks, Mark, appreciate it. All right, any other questions? And then we can bring that up at the next item for consideration.
Well, I agree with Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Spear. This was addressed, during the 2004 when the ethanol plant was proposed and the traffic was to be routed south and not allowed to go across the bridge and go east on 394.
All right, any other comments or questions referring to the item number 6 under consideration?
No.
All right, seeing none, I would entertain a motion. A motion? No?
I move to approve resolution number 11-2024, ratifying the approval of the 1041 Evans Oil and Gas Location Assessment Permit for certain property located north and adjacent on Weld County Road 394 and west of and adjacent to 47th Avenue, also referred to as the Oxford 4 November 66 Whiskey 31-16 site.
Second.
I have a motion second to approve resolution number 11-2024, ratifying the approval of a 1041 Evans Oil and Gas Location Easement Permit for certain property located north of and adjacent to Weld County Road 394 and west of and adjacent to 47th Avenue, also referred to as the Oxford 4 November 6 Whiskey 3-1-16 site. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay?
Nay.
All right, I'll do another roll call vote, please.
Mayor Clark,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Neal,
Nay.
Councilmember Mortensen,
Aye.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes 6-1. Okay, thank you. All right, next item, consideration of a road maintenance agreement with PDC Energy Incorporated, a wholly owned subsidiary of Chevron Corporation, a Delaware limited liability company for the Oxford 4 November 6 Whiskey 3-1-16 site. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Michael Hall, City Planner. For your consideration is the road maintenance agreement for the Oxford site. Site is located north of and adjacent to Weld County Road 394 and west of and adjacent to Weld County Road 33. Let's see, the Oxford site permitted under the 1041 Evans Oil and Gas location assessment process was approved by Weld County Oil and Gas as detailed in their letter dated May 24th, 2024. Approval and recordation of this agreement will satisfy a condition of approval of the city staff report dated April 24th, 2024, which served as a component of the county's determination. The RMA has been signed by the operator and is ready for the mayor's signature. Noteworthy portions of the agreement include Part 1B, which requires a proportional share and financial responsibility for the maintenance, improvement, and repair of the haul route. Part 1C details the approved access location. For reference, city engineering has issued an access permit at the location out onto 394. Part 1F details the required haul route signage, which would be posted at the entrance of the access, or at the entrance to the site. Part 1H details the required off-site improvements, including one street light, adequate access specs being the turning radii, and adequate vehicle tracking control to prevent damage to the roadway and containing debris. Part 2.I details off-site maintenance triggers and terms, and Part 2.K details the ability to conduct annual inspections to see how this road maintenance is going. Regarding financials, the road maintenance agreement will not have a financial impact to the city. No financial contribution from the city is required for this agreement. Staff recommends the approval of the road maintenance agreement, and suggested motions are provided in the staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Michael.
And just to clarify, so on their haul route exhibit, which is Exhibit B in the road maintenance agreement, it does state that, so going westbound from the site, it's 75%, and then southbound on County Road 31. And then likewise, going east, it's 25% to County Road 35 for dispersal to the south. So correcting my previous statement, it doesn't go directly to Highway 85 up 394. It goes south down County Road 35.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
You're confident of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other additional questions, comments? Councilmember Neal? No? Okay, just trolling. All right, if there's no questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the road maintenance agreement with PDC Energy Incorporated for the Oxford site and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the road maintenance agreement with PDC Energy Incorporated for the Oxford site and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay. All right, I'm not gonna, I'll save you a roll call vote this time. Motion passes 6-1. All right, thank you, Michael, appreciate it. All right. Next item, item number 8, consideration of a temporary construction easement on Sam's Club property. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you know, we're working on the design, and we're going to construct a traffic signal at the intersection of 23rd Avenue and 34th, also Anchor Drive. The property on the northwest corner is vacant currently, and we've talked to Sam's Club, and they've granted us a temporary construction easement on the property to allow us to bring the mast arms and the poles and set them on the property to make the construction that much more efficient. We're going to bring that contract for the purchase of those items to you at the next council meeting, but we wanted to get this in place so we knew that was going to happen ahead of time. Also, XL Energy will be working on the property to underground the distribution wires on the poles so that they're not in conflict with our mast arms and pole when we put it up. So that'll happen between now and the end of the year. So this temporary construction easement will cover us as well as XL Energy's time on the property. And at the end of the project, when we're done with it, we'll put it back to pre-existing conditions. We have a signed copy from Sam's Club, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions, comments? Pretty straightforward to me. All right, no questions or comments. I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the license agreement for the temporary construction easement on Lot 4, Block 1, minor replat Sam's at the Landings subdivision and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
A motion is second to approve the license agreement for the temporary construction easement on Lot 4, Block 1, minor replat, Sam's at the Landing subdivision, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item, item number 9, consideration of resolution number 09-2024, authorizing a mail ballot election for the city's regular municipal election on November 5th, 2024, and granting specific oversight to the city clerk. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So pursuant to the Evans Home Rule Charter, our regular municipal election shall be held on the first Tuesday following the first Monday in November of even-numbered years, commencing this year, 2024. Resolution 09-2024 will authorize the mail ballot election for the city's regular municipal election scheduled for November 5th, and then also satisfy some language in the resolution satisfies specific requirements under state law and clarifies certain powers and procedures for that election. And that's all I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just a couple quick, when are candidates able to pick up packets?
Nomination petition packets will be available on August 6th, and they'll need to be returned by 5 p.m. on August 26th.
Perfect, great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 09-2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 09-2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next item. Item number 10, consideration of resolution number 10-2024, approving an intergovernmental agreement with Weld County for the November 5th, 2024 regular municipal election. We'll hear from you.
So thank you, Mayor and Council. Pursuant to our Evans Home Rule Charter, again, the election will be held on November 5th, 2024. In addition, Section 3.12 of our charter does allow City Council to enter into intergovernmental agreements with Weld County, which means that the county would manage all the election operations on behalf of the city after the ballot has been certified with them. So we do have costs in our budget for 2024 to participate in this coordinated election with the county. It will actually save the city a little bit of money. And therefore, I am recommending approval or adoption of the resolution, and I'm willing to answer any questions you have.
Great. Any questions or comments? If not,
Seats are up, do we know?
Hasn't the cost increased?
Actually, hold on. Councilmember Johnson was going first, guy.
How many seats are up for election, do we know?
So it is going to be the mayor, and then 1 seat from each ward is up for for election. And each of the ward terms are the full 4-year length terms. So it's my understanding that Mayor Pro Tem Spear, Councilmember Crabtree, Councilmember Delaney, and Mayor Clark.
So they're all 4-year, correct?
Except for the mayor.
Except for the mayor, yes.
Mayor's 2-year.
Thank you.
Councilmember Neal?
Hasn't the cost for the county to provide this service, it's substantially increased, hasn't it?
Currently, the IGA states for $1.25 per registered voter. When we utilize the county for the coordinated election in 2021, it was $1.25 per registered voter. So it's approximately the same cost. I want to say it came in just under $16,000 total.
So it's due, the increased cost is due to the increased population.
It does increase with population, yes.
Thank you.
If there's any other questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 10-2024 and to authorize the city attorney and city clerk to execute the intergovernmental agreement with Weld County Clerk and Recorder.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 10-2024 and authorize the city attorney and city clerk to execute the IGA. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, thanks, Jules. All right, next item, report, city manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just one thing for you tonight. As some of you, or all of you may be aware, this is the last meeting for our Community Development Director, Angela Snyder, who has accepted a position, and so with the private sector, and so she's going to be starting that here in the next couple of weeks. Her last day will be August 2nd, and so I wanted to take just a moment to thank Angela for her service to the city of Evans. Angela was one of the first changes that I made when I got here 18 months ago to help me change the direction of the Community Development Department, and since that time she has stepped into the role and has helped me change the direction of that department. And we know that through my interviews here with the council, that was a big priority in creating a development-friendly environment. And so I think Angela has certainly helped me start to get things aligned for the city of Evans that'll help us continue with development in the future. We got a lot of great things going on, and we have a lot of great things going on in large part because of the guidance that Angela has helped provide here over the last 18 months. So Angela, I just want to thank you for your work here at the city of Evans.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your work.
That's all I've got.
All right, great, thank you. City attorney.
So I do just have one item to add to our earlier discussions as far as the legislative update, partly for its entertainment value, partly to encourage you to read the other document we gave you, which is entitled Honorable Mention. And it's all the other acts that we didn't specifically talk about, but might be of interest to one or more of you, and you can let us know if it is. And partly because you just finished talking about elections. I want to bring your attention to House Bill 24-1147, which governs candidate election deep fake disclosures. The act creates regulations governing the use of deep fakes produced using generative artificial intelligence in communications about candidates for elected office. So if you intend to make any deep fakes, the way to avoid liability is to put the following disclosure on your video. It has to say, this video has been edited and depicts speech or conduct that falsely appears to be authentic or truthful. And with that, you can avoid liability. And that's all I have.
All right, great, thank you. All right, council discussion. Does anybody have anything good for good of the order?
I have a couple things.
Go ahead.
A shout out to, I now understand what a pan is for the Driftwood Park cleanup. It's amazing how much material is being removed from that park, and I walk it every day. And the city is doing, and staff is doing a phenomenal job of that. And I understood what the pan was until I see it actually being put into the ground. it's remarkable that we didn't do it. It's also really shameful that we just allowed the overgrowth and the garbage just to build up over the years. So whatever they're doing now and how you're doing it is great. It's actually nice to walk through the park and see the development, and it's cleaning up really, really nicely. So great for that. Second thing is tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I have a meeting with the city manager to go over the bones of the new ordinance. So if there's any last minute things you'd like me to at least bring into that. Remember, we're gonna still present that to the ad hoc committee, but we're actually gonna start doing the fundamental structure of that and then send that out for approval. And then the last thing I've got is something that I've never been to Fort Morgan before except to drive through it, but I was invited to go to Bobstock, and I enjoyed the experience of the community, and I thought, man, Evans could really use something like this. There was like 30 food trucks, live music, it was free, and I saw the entire community come out and experience that with the with council and mayors and city staff, and people were having a great time. And I thought this could be a great way for Evans to collectively get everyone out and about and have a party.
Was it in the area that they had the hometown renovation show?
HGTV.
I don't know. It was the first time I was there.
Okay.
I had no reason to ever go to Fort Morgan, and I went and saw the Spin Doctors. It was hilarious.
I think that really revived, that show really revived their community.
Yeah, it was great. And I thought, I know that we have Evans Heritage Days, but it just gave me a sense of community, and I felt like I belonged there even though I was from Evans. Everyone was welcoming, everyone was having a great time. There wasn't any trouble. Excuse me. There wasn't any trouble. The food trucks, the local vendors were out. So I saw a lot of economic development with that. All the small little mom and pop stores were selling things, all the food trucks. I thought that as we were trying to come up with ideas on how to stimulate our cash flow, that might be something. And then I asked a couple of people how they supported it, and it was a lot of corporate sponsors. So we may not have that pool, but it's something to at least start looking at.
Absolutely, great. Well, you're talking about Driftwood Park and how it looks and all that stuff. You should take a drive over to Chapel at that detention pond and see.
Oh, I've seen that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been driving around now.
It's just crazy.
And it doesn't matter on the size of the sign either. It makes the park look good.
All right, anything else?
The sign's important.
Not the size of it.
All right.
Well,
if there-
last
I'm
thing,
sorry.
I know, I did, in your report, Cody, you mentioned that now that we have the sign, department kind of sort of up and running, we're gonna have discussions in regards to what, like, the park signs look like at the
Yeah,
upcoming
so-
work session?
Actually, we are going to be in the works of forming a citizen ad hoc committee of a Parks and Rec committee or Parks and Rec district. That's something that Cody and I have been talking
Do we have a
about.
Parks and
We
Rec?
used to.
Okay.
Used to.
Okay.
We're gonna bring that back. And one of the things that they will be tasked with is assigning park rules, hours, et cetera, so we can get the appropriate sign. I think that would be best left to that citizens ad hoc committee.
But it has to align to our code.
Yes, of course.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure we're not making
Of course,
stuff up.
yeah, no,
It's like-
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm planning to bring that resolution back to the city council at the August 5th, city council meeting. So here in 3 weeks. And just a reminder, we do have five weeks this month. So we will have 2 off weeks before we have our next city council meeting. So I'm planning to bring that resolution to the council for consideration that night.
And if we do have a work session, it's just because I do have people that want to come and listen to what that's going to look like or those discussions. So I did provide, mentioned if they wanted to like email the council on their concerns or what that looks like.
They can email the council on that or staff, but I really am truly going to leave that up to the ad hoc committee. So what we'll do is we'll probably have applications go out like we did for the RV boats and trailers. And it'll be something like the planning commission will have that. And they will take up those, and then the public would be able to come and talk to them, and then they can present that to council.
We'll be provided a timeline of what that looks like, and it'll be communicated to
Yes.
the community at large.
It will be, yeah. Once we approve, if we approve the resolution for the committee on the next council meeting in August, then we will go forward with that.
I mean, I think we should definitely discuss that at work session if we're having committees created. Just the thought.
Well, but didn't we have a Parks and Recreation
We did,
Commission.
committee?
we did. And it went away a long time ago.
And I
now
thought
we're
we
bringing
brought it back.
Nope, we never did. We looked into that.
No, that's what the resolution will do. It'll
Yep. We'll
reestablish
reestablish it.
Parks and Recreation
So it's
Commission.
not ad hoc.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's a
that,
committee.
okay, so
It's
we're,
a
so
reestablishment
that's
of the
different.
committee.
Okay,
Yes.
well, that's different, cause I'm like.
Yeah,
we're-
and the resolution will outline, it'll, the membership requirements, meeting times, stuff of that nature.
You like the water and sewer board.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were creating, okay, good. Then that's fantastic.
And we had a Parks and Rec board, and as some people dropped off, they couldn't refill positions, so they finally just abandoned it.
Yeah, I know. I thought I saw that it was abandoned, and then I thought it was brought back for a while there on a few of the applications that I saw. So I know I had that discussion with,
I thought we did too.
with-
We looked into it.
okay,
Probably one of those old things where we won't go into.
yeah.
All right, great. Anything else? All right, seeing none. All right, thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.